Serendipity'S lens. In a quaint corner of the world where the whispers of 1,000 untold stories danced in the shadows, a young woman named Rachel Yunson found herself face to face with the muse of her adolescent dreams. Rachel had spent her life thus far peering through the looking glass of academia, her heart beating in sync with the ticking clock of her pursuit for knowledge. Yet, amidst the dusty tomes and the glow of her computer screens, there remained a vivid, untouched corner of her soul that yearned for the magic of connection, the kind that had been immortalized in the performances of the inimitable Kate Whitney. The day began as any other in the bustling city, a cacophony of urban life that painted the canvas of Rachel's reality. Yet, upon returning from a night that had promised revelry but delivered only the bitter aftertaste of unrequited desire, Rachel discovered that the fabric of her mundane existence had been torn asunder. Her quiet street had been transformed into a whirlwind of glitz and glamour, the air thick with the scent of grease paint and ambition. A movie set had descended like a vibrant, alien creature in the night, its tentacles of lights and cameras reaching for the very soul of the neighborhood. Summary: 1. Rachel Yunson returns home early from a camping trip after a disappointing encounter with a friend, only to find her street turned into a film set for a movie titled Clockwork Fury. She is particularly excited because the film's lead, Kate Whitney, is a lesbian icon and played a significant role in Rachel's coming-out journey. Rachel's roommate, Abby, who is preparing for a virtual job interview, encourages Rachel to take the opportunity to meet Kate and possibly get an autograph. Rachel, though nervous, considers the idea, especially after remembering the powerful impact Kate's past work had on her. Her eyes, weary from a night of futile longing, grew wide as she caught a glimpse of the woman who had once set her heart ablaze. Kate Whitney, the epitome of queer elegance and power, was standing there, a vision of beauty amidst the chaos. Rachel felt the ground shift beneath her, as if the very foundation of her world had been rearranged to bring her closer to her hero. But she was no star-crossed lover, no eager fangirl. Rachel was a scientist, a scholar, a woman of logic and reason, and yet the allure was undeniable. The siren's call of what could be whispered sweet nothings in her ear, tantalizing her with the prospect of stepping through the looking glass and into a world of passion and intrigue. Her heart raced as she clutched the marker tightly, feeling the weight of the dare pressing upon her like an invisible hand. The question was not if she could do it, but if she dared. And in that moment, Rachel knew that she had to try, for fear of letting this serendipitous encounter slip through her fingers like so much dust in the wind. With a deep breath, Rachel stepped out of her sanctuary and into the cacophony of the film set. The sun kissed her cheeks with a gentle warmth, as if giving her its silent approval. The thrum of activity around her was a stark contrast to the quiet solitude she had known just moments before, but she felt alive. The air was electric with possibility, and she was the conductor of her own destiny. Summary: 1. Rachel is captivated by the sight of Kate Whitney, her lesbian icon, and contemplates the opportunity to meet her. Despite being a logical scientist, Rachel can't ignore the emotional pull. Encouraged by the dare from Abby, she decides to overcome her nerves and approach Kate for an autograph, feeling a rush of excitement and nervousness as she steps out into the bustling film set, which is a stark contrast to her usual quiet life. The path to Kate was fraught with obstacles, extras in elaborate costumes, crew members bustling with purpose, and the ever-watchful gaze of security. Rachel navigated through the throng with the determination of a moth to a flame, her eyes never leaving the woman who had inspired her to embrace who she truly was. The closer she got, the more real Kate became, less the image on a screen and more flesh and blood person. A person who could see her, hear her, touch her. As Rachel approached the velvet rope that separated her from her hero, she felt a tremor of doubt. What if Kate didn't remember her? What if she was just another face in the crowd? But the universe had conspired to bring her this close, and she would not let the opportunity pass her by. She took a step forward, her heart hammering in her chest, and called out, "Kate." The words hung in the air, suspended by hope and the echoes of 1,000 silent whispers. And then, as if by some divine intervention, Kate's head snapped up, her ice blue eyes locking onto Rachel's. Time seemed to slow as their gazes met, and Rachel felt the world fall away, leaving only the two of them in this fleeting moment of connection. The set grew hushed, the murmurs of the crew fading into the background. Rachel's hand shot out, the marker poised and ready. Kate's smile grew wider as she approached the barricade, her eyes never leaving Rachel's. She leaned over, her corseted waist flexing with the movement, and took the marker with a gentle touch. Rachel's skin tingled where their fingers had brushed, and she felt a blush creeping up her neck. "What's your name, love?" Kate's voice was a warm caress, a gentle melody that Rachel had heard countless times but never imagined would be directed at her. "Rachel," she managed to croak out, her voice barely a whisper. Kate nodded, her eyes sparkling with mirth. "To Rachel," she said, autographing the back of Rachel's phone with a flourish. Rachel watched, mesmerized, as her name became a part of Kate's legend. The moment was so surreal that Rachel felt like she was watching it unfold in a movie of her own life. But it was real, so very real, and it was happening to her. "Thank you," Rachel whispered, taking her phone back. Kate's eyes searched hers, a silent question hanging between them. Rachel swallowed hard, her mind racing with thoughts and feelings she couldn't quite articulate. "Thank you for everything." It was all she could say, but she hoped it conveyed the depth of her gratitude, the way Kate's work had shaped her identity, had given her the courage to live her truth. Kate's smile softened, her eyes holding Rachel's with a knowing look. "You're welcome," she murmured. "Keep shining, Rachel." And with that, she was swept away by the tide of the film's production, leaving Rachel standing there, the marker in her hand, her heart soaring with a newfound hope and excitement for what the future might hold. This chance encounter had not just been a meeting of idol and fan, it had been a reminder that sometimes, when you least expect it, life could serve you a slice of serendipity, a moment that had the power to change everything. Rachel took a deep breath, her chest tight with emotion, and made her way back to her apartment, feeling as though she had just been handed a piece of the stars. The rest of the day was a blur, a series of moments that Rachel knew she would replay in her mind for years to come. She took a shower, washing away the sweat and disappointment of the camping trip, and tried to shake off the heaviness that still lingered from her encounter with Julia. But it was Kate's face, her warm smile and gentle touch, that filled Rachel's thoughts as she moved through the apartment, setting her things to rights. It was as though the world had tilted on its axis and relied to show her that she wasn't alone, that there were others who understood the complexities of her heart and the depths of her desire. Abby's interview came and went, her laughter and the occasional serious tone drifting through the apartment's walls. Rachel couldn't help but feel a little envious of the ease with which her roommate navigated the professional world. But she had her own battles to fight, her own dreams to chase. And as she sat on the couch, the sun setting outside and casting a warm glow across the cluttered room, Rachel knew that she had taken the first step toward claiming what she truly wanted. It wasn't about Kate Whitney, though the encounter had certainly been the catalyst, it was about Rachel stepping out of the shadows and into the light of her own truth. The next day, Rachel woke early, the excitement of the previous day's events still buzzing in her veins. She had a thesis to write, a future to build, and a life to live. She looked at the autograph on her phone, the ink a permanent reminder of the connection she had made. It was time to channel that energy into her research, to delve into the mysteries of the universe and perhaps, in some small way, pay homage to the woman who had shown her that love had no boundaries. Serendipity'S lens had been a brief interlude in the grand tapestry of Rachel's story, but it had left an indelible mark, one that would guide her through the twists and turns that lay ahead. The sun had set, and the neon lights of the film set cast a soft, otherworldly glow over the street. Rachel sat at her desk, her computer screens flickering with the beginnings of her thesis. The clack of the keyboard was a comforting rhythm, a heartbeat that matched the pulse of the city outside. She glanced at her phone, the autograph a silent cheerleader urging her forward. The encounter with Kate had stirred something within her, a yearning to reach for the stars that she had allowed to lie dormant for too long. Rachel knew that she had to take this newfound energy and focus it, channel it into her work. As her fingers danced over the keys, she couldn't help but feel a sense of camaraderie with the woman she had met the day before. They were both pursuing their passions, navigating the chaos of their respective worlds with determination and grace. Rachel's research on the quantum entanglement of photons was a universe unto itself, a realm where she could lose herself and find meaning. It was her way of contributing to the grand narrative of human understanding, a narrative that Kate had once been a part of. A knock on the door broke her reverie, and Rachel jumped, her heart racing. Could it be? But no, it was just the delivery guy with her takeout. She signed for the bag and closed the door, her thoughts drifting back to the film set. The movie Serendipity'S lens had taken over her street, but it had also invaded her heart, reminding her that sometimes, the most profound moments could be found in the most unexpected of places. With a sigh, Rachel turned back to her work, her mind alight with ideas and possibilities. The aroma of her dinner filled the room, mingling with the scent of sweet orange essential oil and the faint lingering smell of campfire. It was a strange and intoxicating blend, a potent reminder of the wild ride she had been on in the past 24 hours. As she took her first bite, Rachel couldn't help but feel a sense of excitement for what tomorrow might bring. The world was full of mysteries, both scientific and romantic, and she was ready to tackle them all, armed with nothing but her wits and a permanent marker. The story of Rachel's encounter with Kate Whitney had a title now, swirling around in her mind like a catchy tune that refused to leave her alone. Serendipity's lens, a quantum entanglement of hearts. It was a cheesy play on her research topic, but it had a certain charm to it. Rachel had always loved the idea of serendipity, the notion that the universe had a way of bringing people together in the most unexpected of ways. And wasn't that what had happened here? The universe had conspired to bring her face to face with the woman who had played a pivotal role in her coming out, the woman whose very presence had made Rachel's heart skip a beat. The following day, Rachel found herself drawn back to the film set, unable to resist the allure of the glitz and glamour that had invaded her quiet corner of the world. She watched from the sidelines as the crew bustled about, setting up scenes and adjusting lights. And there was Kate, a vision in a flowing gown that made her look like a queen of the Victorian era. Rachel felt a flutter in her stomach, a reminder of the electricity that had passed between them the day before. It was a sensation she had felt only a few times before, but it was unmistakable. It was attraction, pure and simple, and it was as thrilling as it was terrifying. Days turned into weeks as Rachel threw herself into her work, her eyes glazed with the glow of computer screens and her mind buzzing with the complex dance of quantum particles. The film set grew into a familiar backdrop, a place of wonder and curiosity that she visited whenever she could. And always, in the back of her mind, was Kate. Rachel knew it was a foolish infatuation, that she would likely never speak to the woman again, but it didn't matter. The very idea of her had become a beacon of inspiration, a reminder that even in the most mundane of moments, there was magic to be found. And so, Rachel wrote, and researched, and dreamed, all under the watchful eye of Serendipity's lens, her heart forever entangled with the woman who had changed her life. The story of Rachel's life took on a new chapter, one filled with the excitement of discovery and the sweet ache of unrequited longing. She named it Quantum Entanglement of Desire, a nod to the physics that consumed her days and the emotions that ruled her nights. It was a tale of two worlds colliding, the rigid logic of science and the chaotic whirlwind of human passion. And in the heart of this narrative, Kate Whitney remained the elusive variable, the constant that Rachel could never quite pin down. One evening, as Rachel took a much-needed break from her thesis, she found herself drawn to the film set once more. The night was cool, the air filled with the promise of rain, and the lights from the set cast a warm, inviting glow across the cobblestone street. She leaned against the fence, watching the actors rehearse a scene, their voices a soothing hum of activity. And then she saw her, Kate, standing in the shadows, watching the world go by. Rachel's heart skipped a beat, and she felt the pull, the gravitational force of attraction that had brought them together once before. With a deep breath, Rachel approached the fence, her hand shaking as she gripped the cold metal. Kate looked up, her eyes finding Rachel's, and for a moment, the world stopped. "Hey," Rachel said, her voice barely above a whisper. Kate offered a small smile, and Rachel felt it in her very soul. "How's the research going?" Kate's question was casual, but Rachel heard the genuine interest. They talked for hours, about movies and physics, about love and life, about the strange and beautiful way the universe wove their paths together. And as the first drops of rain began to fall, Rachel knew that she had found something more precious than a celebrity encounter. She had found a kindred spirit. The rain grew heavier, the droplets splattering against the canvas of Rachel's hoodie as she and Kate talked into the night. The film set had cleared out, the crew retreating to the warmth of their trailers, leaving the two of them alone under the glow of the streetlights. Rachel felt a strange sense of déjà vu, as if they had met before in another time, another place. "You know," Kate said, her voice a soothing balm to Rachel's weary spirit, "the universe has a funny way of bringing people together." Rachel nodded, her eyes never leaving Kate's, the words echoing in her mind. It was a serendipitous moment, a blip in the fabric of time that seemed to stretch on forever. As the rain soaked them both, Rachel felt a sudden, overwhelming need to confess her feelings. She took a deep breath, the words spilling from her lips before she could think better of it. "Kate, I don't know what this is, but I feel something when I'm around you." Kate's smile grew, warm and understanding. "I feel it too, Rachel," she murmured. "But we both know the dangers of mixing quantum theory with reality." Rachel nodded, her heart heavy with the weight of unspoken truths. They stood there, the rain a veil around them, and Rachel knew that she had found a piece of herself in the most unlikely of places. The rain washed away the last remnants of Rachel's doubt, leaving only the stark reality of her feelings. As she stepped away from the fence, Kate's hand reached out, her fingers brushing Rachel's. It was a gesture filled with more meaning than any autograph could ever hold. They stood there, the rain mingling with their tears, and Rachel knew that she had found more than just inspiration. She had found a kind of love that was as rare and beautiful as the quantum phenomena she studied. A love that transcended the boundaries of their worlds, a love that was as mysterious and unpredictable as the universe itself. "See you around, Rachel," Kate whispered, before disappearing into the night. Rachel watched her go, her heart racing with a mix of hope and fear, the echoes of a quantum entanglement of desire playing in her mind like a sweet, haunting melody.